Hey guys, what's up? It's me, Umbra, at the end of the Porcelain Tower. Like literally, like almost a, just a couple of days before the end. Um, so yeah, basically, here's the deal with Porcelain Tower. Here's the thing. So original Porcelain Tower is returned, and it's basically the exact same thing what it was before. If you've completed already on the baby side, there's almost no reason to play this ever again, unless you're a really big fan or you want medals, convert to stuff. I mean, really, that's up to you. For me personally, it has been kind of crazy lately, just with lots of different games to play, so many great choices of stuff to come out that, honestly, I know that I do say a lot of the time that, hey, I'm really excited that Porcelain's Tower is coming out because PvE content, finally, sort of thing, right? Like, there's been some long periods of time without any PvE content, it feels like, and so sometimes you just take what you can get. So, I'm not really going to excuse myself that, for what I'm about to say, but I kind of hate Porcelain Tower. It isn't really fun, it's too restrictive and not very interesting, and that makes me just not super interested in playing it or recording it or making guides for it, because honestly, there's a really easy solution that you can do to kind of mess over the Porcelain Tower, providing that you don't care about rankings. And unless you're like a super high-end spender, a lot of the time you're not going to care about ranking at all. So one of the things you can actually do is you can just throw in basically any character that you want, of lower rarity, into fight on these missions. So like this kind of thing. For people who don't know about this trick, this is what you do. You basically do this, and you just let the AI. It's gonna recast all of their immediate best abilities that they want to cast every single time when they get started, like haste, and they're going to be casting all of this. And like you can see here, Perrine's just using that, and I'm gonna use that, and then, well, this is gonna happen, sort of thing, right? And then what you do is you just wait for umpteen minutes while the game loads. Has to check with the servers, and the servers are made out of pre-made French fries. But yeah, when actually it's even easier now, because since we're not technically using a character at the moment, we can just keep. It actually doesn't hurt your standings at this point. But so why am I making this video? Umbra, did you just make this video to complain about Porcelain Tower? No, I actually kind of want to show this off, because this is the one interesting thing that has kind of happened recently, is the fact that this Porcelain Tower, the one of the Thunder King, actually does have a different mechanic behind it, which is Renan. Renan is actually on your team, and as you can see, if he dies, you lose. Progress is kept, thankfully. So, like, if you kill off a couple of enemies and whatnot, well, guess what? They stay dead, sort of. So here we have this, and you know what? Let's also just run a speed feasty so we can have a little more say in what's going on. But ability counts do matter, so you can continually reload in here. It's really not that big deal at all. But eventually they will run out of ability casts. This is a little frustrating because he is just keep dying. So you get the idea. Basically, you can continually reload in with low tier characters so that the AI continually casts their best abilities till they run out. And then you can kind of just cheese the floor pretty easy. So for this one, we're going to turn off auto. We're going to turn on this so actually move in and kind of protect certain characters. But yeah, this floor does have an interesting mechanic, which is more than I can say for 90% of it. Really, a major problem that I have with Porcelain Tower is that it is very dull. It is not fun to play this game, really, at all. Mainly because it's just way too restrictive. The amount of damage types that you can use just isn't enough to really matter, and that's a huge problem in my opinion. It is a problem to have this kind of issue of, well, I would like to play this, but just the fact that it's like, well, I can only really use these characters, and otherwise it's a struggle and it's not really fun, and you can tell that they're just catering to whales and whatnot. There are some major issues with playing them. And I don't think those have really been addressed in any way, shape, or form, like months later. And it still feels very much like we're years later, and it still feels like major problems are still omnipresent. So here we're going to get our tank into position. Sorry, I got a little bit of a throat thing today. And there isn't much I can do about it. Alright, so now we're in better position where we can actually just kind of contest this a little bit. Getting rid of this guy. I mean, it's going to this I think is kind of fun and interesting. The idea that, you know, you're going to have this specific setup of being like, oh well, now you have to kind of protect a character. I mean, that's more interesting than what it has been recently, where it's just been like, well, you go in, you fight, you have a bunch of your units die potentially, and then you maybe get to do something like in a few matches, and you just try and kill the enemy. So yeah, you can see we're taking some damage, but that's fine. We're not too worried about it. We're not too fussed about it at this point, because we really just want to keep Renan alive, and that's the big deal. So now we're going to come over here. I mean, this does essentially require you to have a little bit more strategy than what you do. In so many of these maps, it really is just, well, I mean, you do as much as you can, and maybe your party dies off, but then you come back a little bit later and you get to try again, something different. And so, like, in that sense, I think that there is more interest in it is just generally more interesting to have this kind of setup where you're protecting, and protect missions suck. I mean, in like all video games, they just kind of suck because it is frustrating sometimes to not have control of these characters. Not quite enough, but we're getting there. Alright, so we ended up getting rid of him pretty good. Let's start taking out our Thunder Base character. Thankfully, we have like the best healer game. Don't at me, don't care. That is just insanely powerful right now. Nope, I'm kill this guy. And this ability finally. I don't think we have anything. Oh, well, we have some right. I do wish a lot of this game was just better for multiple type of characters, there were more avenues to victory in this mode specifically. Because I do think that one of the weakest and most frustrating parts of this style of mode is the fact that you don't have a lot of options for success. Do we have something better? Our own character, which is cool, but it is, I think, more annoying that, and I'm not going to be like, oh yeah, this is totally defensible, because I think that a lot of it is not defensible, of just having this kind of like, well, if you have this one character, if not, well, you should have pulled on it, and that's frustrating. That is incredibly frustrating to try and put up with. Like, not being able to berserk, like, if you, and this is a very critical video sort of thing, because of course it is. It absolutely, I always think it's totally fine to be critical of anything, but if you just look, cool, got a counter. Like, if you just look at any character in these modes, this sucks. This sucks. You don't have any avenue to be clever. It really is just too narrow, and this problem has existed in this game basically since the beginning. And the longer that it goes on, the worse it is, the more egregious it is. That this is like, this is the way it is. You don't have a choice in the matter. Hope you enjoy it. And if you don't, well, tough beans. Just keep reloading, keep spending more. I mean, I get it. That's the only directive in this game. Like, well, but yeah, I am less and less okay with it. It's just them. Out here, and give ourselves a little bit of a boost. And it's a good thing I have aquatic ambient, because you know what, that just calms it down. Keep punching her, I guess. One time. Nope. Yeah, die, Preen, die. So yeah, I guess more than anything, I wanted to just showcase a little bit of a cool addition to this game, or at least this mode, where a lot of the times I just don't feel super positive about it. Oh. So yeah, we'll finish this off in this video, but I wish for more things like this, more creativity, less just based on mandatory forcing people to kind of pull. And you know what, let's switch it up a little bit. We'll go with an Earth team. We've got some healers, I think, in this team anyway, right? Yeah, we got some healers. We can do it if we want to. We can leave the ice party behind. Pretty cool that none of the ice members actually died in that entire fight. I think it's interesting. Like, this is more interesting and more fun for me than most of the stages out there, because it does actually require me to think in a bit of a different way. I do wish that they would absolutely just completely and unabashedly, like, please just tone down the requirements for most people. Like, it doesn't need to be this. Here's the thing, if it was more fun and more open, maybe people would be more interested in just trying a bunch of different stuff instead of characters that they can no longer get and not upgrade in the amount of time. Like, more than anything, that's probably just one of the most definite, like, weakest parts of all of this, is just being like, well, we want to make a system that people will be more inclined to pull for certain characters. Like, okay, but it's like retroactively it's worthless sort of thing, where it's like, oh yeah, you can, if you have these characters, but I don't have those characters, so what am I supposed to do? Just feel bad? Is that the goal that you're going into when you're making this game? Because you are, maybe that really seriously needs to change. And I don't think that most of the Wotv devs are, like, Wotv executives, sorry, I should say, are clever enough to, like, kind of figure that out. Yeah, it's definitely a problem, but shout outs to whoever actually, got to do this kind of thing. It is kind of cool to be like, oh, protect Renan. Renan's an idiot. He's running forward. Renan, get back here. Cheat our character up a little. You gonna move? Yeah. Oh no, you nuked us. Doesn't really matter. We have elemental advantage by a considerable margin. Look at that. Boom! Not dead yet, but he's close. Best Earth girl, right there. So yeah, basically, I want to give a little bit of a shout out to this mode. Leading up to it was the same kind of boring BS. Like, it's not fun. I don't think the ranking system, like, if you're going to put a ranking system in, maybe make it a little bit more open to let players use some different strategy rather than one. Oh yeah, here's the chaos difficulty if you really want. I don't think the resources are really worth troubling about. But to end this video about this topic, to put this finally to rest, I'm going to use a ticket that we got from it, and I'm doing it on this video so recorded and people can see my mediocre luck. We are guaranteed 1 UR, and in the pool, I think basically everyone currently is up. Do we have actually quite a few ice? Reagan would be the dream kind of thing, or an Amnel. I'll take either one. But hey, a single UR unit, why not? It was loading there. That must mean something good, right? Maybe not. Oh, they fooled me. All right, well, looks like we're getting the basic package today. Not even any upgrades. Like, why are yellows so chintzy at this point in the game? Like, about as bad as it could have been. Cool. Anyway, so that's the end of this video. Hopefully you enjoyed this. I definitely have enjoyed sharing my thoughts about the Porcelain Tower, the upgrades. I mean, the Thunder Tower King is at least moderately more interesting, but only in the final floor. Everything else leading up to this was the same kind of closed, narrow. You need certain characters to do really well, and if not, you'll kind of struggle through it. Very closed off. Hopefully, this is a sign that maybe things will get more interesting in the future. but it probably will just be carbon copy paste all the other elements. But yay, it's done. I'm done. I'm free. Now I just have to do wave battle eventually. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time.